While Red Bull and McLaren are trading blows for the title on the track, there's another kind of battle brewing in the shadows, one that's more about egos than engines. And this time, it's inside the Aston Martin garage. Word from the paddock is that things aren't exactly running smooth between team owner Lawrence Stroll and his newest high-profile recruit Adrian Newey. Yep, that Adrian Newey, the aerodynamic genius every F1 team would sell their front wing to have on board. According to ex-F1 driver and now paddock whisperer Robert Doornbos, the honeymoon between the two may already be over. Doornbos spilled the tea on Ziggo Sport's De Stamtafel, painting a picture of a tense garage atmosphere. Despite the glittering headlines when Newey signed that fat contract, it seems reality has hit like a lockup into turn one. The results haven't matched the expectations, and when you're Lawrence Stroll, throwing money at the dream of Aston Martin becoming title contenders, patience isn't exactly your strongest compound. This isn't just a case of creative differences either. Doornbos hints that the frustration is personal. Newey, a man used to having free rein, might be finding it tough working under Stroll's relentless ambition and boardroom pressure. And Stroll, well, he didn't spend all those millions to finish behind Alpine. Behind the scenes, the tension is reportedly as sharp as a front wing end plate. And in F1, when top brass start butting heads, the ripple effect can destabilize even the sturdiest setups. We've seen it before. Power struggles can derail entire seasons. At the dawn of 2025, Aston Martin had every reason to believe they were about to shift into high gear. Fernando Alonso was still as sharp as ever. The team had just cut the ribbon on a brand new high-tech facility, and the momentum from their 2023 and 2024 breakthrough felt like the start of something special. But 5 races in, that dream's running on fumes. Instead of scrapping with Ferrari and Mercedes, Aston's sitting down in 7th, and the points they do have, let's just say they didn't exactly earn them on pure pace. Lance Stroll bagged a few in Melbourne when the skies opened up and chaos reigned. Then came China, where they lucked into more after a pair of unexpected post-race disqualifications. Not exactly the masterclass Stroll Sr. was banking on. The threat of being leapfrogged by the likes of VCARB and Alpine is now very real. And when you're spending like a top 3 team but sliding backwards, tempers tend to boil over. According to Robert Doornbos, the mood inside Aston Martin's camp is colder than a wind tunnel in December. He described the back half of the paddock as a place where smiles go to die, and at the centre of it all, Lawrence Stroll, who apparently looks like he's ready to throttle the next person who hands him a race debrief. He's not exactly handing out hugs, Doornbos joked. The man storming through the paddock like he's been robbed of a podium. That energy, it's weighing on the whole team. Right at the centre of Aston Martin's internal storm sits Adrian Newey, a man whose resume in F1 reads like a museum of championship-winning machinery. Snatched from Red Bull with a jaw-dropping €33 million a year contract plus company shares, Newey was supposed to be Aston's golden ticket to future glory. Instead, he's become the lightning rod for a clash of visions that's spiraling out of control. You see, Lawrence Stroll thought he was buying instant magic, but Newey, he's playing the long game. Rather than diving into the messy business of the underwhelming AMR25, he's laser-focused on the 2026 car, the one built for a fresh regulatory era, where he believes real titles will be won. That future-first mindset isn't sitting well with Stroll, especially as the present looks increasingly like a disaster class. According to Doornbos, the paddock chatter says it all. Stroll is fuming. The idea that Newey's effectively ghosting the 2025 development program is driving the Canadian billionaire up the garage wall. And let's be honest, he's got reason to be rattled. The team's pace has been woeful, and if last weekend was any indication, Aston Martin are quickly becoming the team others measure their bad days against. Alonso, still scoreless. Stroll Jr., he's just rewritten the Q1 exit record book. Not exactly the family legacy they had in mind. The bigger issue, these two titans are on completely different wavelengths. Stroll wants short-term gains, maybe even to inflate the team's value ahead of a whispered sale. But Newey couldn't care less about next week's headlines. His eyes are on 2026, where the rulebook gets torn up and reshaped, and where he plans to outthink the entire grid. Just when you thought the drama couldn't get juicier, Lawrence Stroll isn't just angry, he's actively exploring an exit. Word is, the Canadian tycoon is deep in talks to sell part, or potentially all, of Aston Martin to a Saudi Arabian sovereign wealth fund. Yes, those Saudis. The same ones plastering their logos all over the AMR24 like it's a billboard on wheels. And here's where it gets even spicier. If Verstappen ever pulls the eject lever at Red Bull, Aston Martin, backed by Saudi money and Newey's 2026 brainchild, could become a very tempting landing strip. That's not wild speculation. That's straight from Doornbos, who said bluntly, the Saudis are circling, and they're serious, but there's a catch. Stroll wants to cash cash out while the stock is still hot. To do that, he needs solid results now. Not next season, not 2 years down the line. Trouble is, he's banking on Adrian Newey to deliver that short-term magic. And Newey, he's not having it. Doornbos laid it bare. Stroll's begging for a band-aid, but Newey's already designing a bionic arm. He doesn't want to be remembered for duct taping a failing car he didn't even build. The stakes are too high. One wrong move, and his reputation as the F1 design guru takes a hit. Now here's where it gets really juicy, and just a little bit ironic. In Formula One, falling behind isn't always a disaster. Thanks to the sport's aerodynamic testing restrictions, the worse you do in the standings, the more time you get in the wind tunnel. And in a championship where every millisecond matters, that extra airflow can be worth more than gold dust. Robert Doornbos didn't just point this out, he practically winked at it. The lower you finish, the more wind tunnel time you earn, he said. And with Aston Martin sliding backwards, that silver lining starts to look a lot like a long game masterstroke. Aston Martin just cut the ribbon on a sparkling new wind tunnel, and if they limp through this season near the back, guess who gets to spend more time fine-tuning the future? That's right, Adrian Newey. Newey's not just aware of this loophole, he might actually prefer it. Why fight for scraps now when the system rewards you for biding your time? Let the current car sink like a stone, rake in that bonus wind tunnel time, and unleash a monster in 2026 when the new regs flip the grid. For Adrian Newey, 2026 isn't just a target, it's the finish line. Everything else, just warm-up laps. He wasn't lured to Aston Martin to play mechanic to 2025 car he never touched. He signed up to shape the future, to design the next great contender under F1's game-changing regulations. But while Newey gazes toward a distant podium, Lawrence Stroll is staring down a stopwatch. The clock is ticking, and loudly. Whether it's the weight of a looming Saudi sale, the pressure of massive investment, or simply his relentless need to win, Stroll wants results yesterday. And right now, the team looks more like it's circling the gravel trap than climbing the leaderboard. Morale sinking like a wet qualifying session. Alonso, once the fiery backbone of the project, is reportedly losing faith. And Lance Stroll, well, his performances have been more ghost lap than hot lap, fueling further doubts about whether this dream project is even salvageable. And then there's the looming wildcard, the Saudis. If that takeover materializes, it could throw another spanner into an already twitchy gearbox. Newey's role, his autonomy, his vision could get tangled in corporate strings, or worse, redirected entirely. His famously selective loyalty isn't exactly glued to balance sheets. So as 2025 barrels toward us, Aston Martin finds itself teetering on a razor's edge. One foot in a visionary future, the other trapped in the unforgiving now. If they don't sync up soon, this team could go from green dream to green meltdown, faster than you can say box. Is Adrian Newey playing 4D chess while Aston Martin burns? Or is this the start of a total meltdown that even he can't design his way out of? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.